I can't wait to introduce the audience to one of my favorite faces, one of my favorite voices in all of sports. Slick Rick the Bucher. How you feeling, Slick?
I'm good.
Oh, Slick. Oh, my bad. Oh, my bad. You said, okay. I like Slick, too.
Yeah.
One of my favorite faces, one of my favorite voices.
I thought you were saying 2-5.
I was not talking about
Okay.
Shady. I was not.
You don't get all the compliments.
No,
Shade.
I'm happy to see you. But you said your favorite and all this.
Yeah, and I get it.
You
I know where you're going.
confused.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can say one of his favorites.
Correct.
Why not?
Yeah, I didn't say mine. I didn't say mine.
I'm in the multitudes. I'm not like.
I thought it was my.
Yeah, he's on the Mount Rushmore. He's on the Mount Rushmore. You're on the Mount Rushmore, Slick.
That's
okay.
pretty honest. That means there's only 3 other people that he likes.
They got me on the hot seat. James Harden, he has the Celtics on the hot seat. He has the Celtics in the corner. 42 points, including a game-tying 3 in regulation, game-winning 3 in overtime. James Harden has been getting crazy buckets. Here's what I heard right before the show. James Harden has never had 2 40-point games in a series. In a playoff series, what he has been doing, in my mind, is truly astonishing. I think about, Shady, the most slandered star basketball players over the last 2 or 3 years. Russell Westbrook, Anthony Davis, Karl Anthony Towns, James Harden. Just slandered for one reason or another. On the court, off the court, they're slandered. But in my mind, James Harden at this point has to be removed from that group. 2 40-point games in one series. 2 put the team on your back kind of games in one series. Joel Embiid was not even present for game 1 due to his injury, and James Harden said, I do not care.
Yes, he did.
The last thing I will say, Shady, before I ask you this question, before Joy, I ask you the question is, y'all realize that James Harden is literally saving Joel Embiid's legacy as we speak? Joel Embiid's legacy was he always gets hurt, he always gets hurt, he always gets hurt. The narrative, at least. If we don't want to use the word legacy, let's use the word narrative. If not for James Harden, the series would be over. It would be 4-0. The Sixers would unfortunately be home. But James Harden has won game 1, and he won game 4. So now nobody's talking about the fact that Embiid was hurt and missed game 1. Nobody's talking about the fact that Embiid has been hurt throughout the course of the series because it's 2-2. That is huge when you think about the narrative of Embiid. Had Embiid won MVP and gotten swept by the Celtics in the semis, oh, I couldn't imagine what the articles would be in Philly, because I know all of those beat writers like you do as well, LeSean McCoy. Seems like you're chomping at the bit to speak, so go for it.
This is funny. This is what I love about TV, right? We find a way to make something positive negative.
How?
Right? For example, it's the reason why you bring a former MVP in Harden and you bring the current MVP and Joel Embiid together. Every team does it. We just talked about how Kevin Durant and Devin Booker is killing together, giving up crazy work, winning together. How Jokic and Jamal Murray is playing well together, winning games. The #1 seed. LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Like, we talk about these things. We talk about Boston, okay? Jaylen Brown and Tatum. It's like, that's what it's for. We're a team. And James Harden, when he got that open 3, if they didn't double team on Joel Embiid. So we got to stop this. I think James Harden is a phenomenal player. The thing is with him is, like, we want to look at him as the old James Harden, the cook, the one that's cooking with the 3. He can bring you that some games, and some games he can't. I think it comes with his timing and age and all the reps in the playoffs. That happens. So, yeah, he might have a game where he might have 12 points in game 2 or 16 points. But then you have a game like this, we give you 40, and we win. It's a team thing. We need James Harden and we need Joel Embiid.
Do his low games bother you or no? Do his 12-point and 16-point games bother you, or does he atone for all that when he drops 45 and drops 42?
Listen, this is not easy, right? You're going to have some games where you're going to dominate, and there's some games you won't. I think he would say that, hey, I would love to have more than 12 points, 16 points. But, yeah, you playing against defense, the strategies, people make adjustments. It's a good team over in Boston. They're a good team.
Really
That's
good.
why they're the favorite to win the NBA championship. So they made some good adjustments, and he didn't play well. Cool. He comes back to answer. I don't mind when players don't do well. I've been there. I've had some bad games. Not a lot, but I had some bad games. It's how you respond. You get knocked down, it's how you get up. And he got up and answered that bell.
He got up,
Come
all
on
right.
now.
Kinda like
Let's
Rocky.
go, Philly!
Joy, what do you make of James Harden's performances?
I mean, I'm not terribly surprised. He is a former MVP. He's one of the top 15, top 20 players in the NBA. He's not what he was when he was at his MVP level, but he's still a great player. It doesn't take anything away from Embiid. I won't repeat everything you just said, but it's a team game. Every team has to have a second star. There's players on the court
what it is
other
now.
than just the star. For a while we had 3 stars. And people were mad about that. So It can't always just be one guy having to do everything.
I think I was misheard. I'm not saying it takes anything away from Embiid. I'm saying if Harden was not present, the slander would have been on Embiid because Embiid would not have been present.
Yeah,
not that we're changing the conversation, but like, who would be present?
Gotta have somebody. Gotta have somebody.
Meaning this, if Harden did not have a historical performance in Game 1, it was historical because in his illustrious career, like Shady and Joy have brilliantly alluded to, he tied his playoff career high.
Okay.
Right.
So Harden could have had 35 points, played well. The Sixers still lost, and we would be like, man, Embiid got hurt in the playoffs. Again, the Sixers fell short. So I'm not saying this to say that he's taking away from Embiid. What I am saying is James Harden is quite literally playing out of his talent level that we believe to exist right now. 45 points ties his career high. He's 33. So this is not what you anticipated to see out of Harden. So I'm not saying he's taking anything from him. I'm simply saying he is protecting. He's shielding Embiid from what likely would have been the narrative, whether fair or unfair.
I think he's doing what he's paid to do there as a max player and a former MVP and someone that we consider to be in the top of the NBA. Like he's in the top 20. He tied his career high. He's playing. He's had some incredible moments, but like we know what James Harden is capable of. It feels more dramatic because we haven't seen him play consistently at that level, game to game throughout this postseason and in past postseasons since the MVP. But he's capable of this. He has this in him. This isn't like a bench or a role player coming up and saving the day. Like he is the number 2 absolutely on that team. He's been the number 1 for years on other teams. So I'm not surprised by it at all. And I think he's showing that he still has this in the tank, which is great for Harden because there's a lot of questions about how we will contextualize his career when it's over. And I think these moments are helping to not necessarily erase, but it's writing a new chapter at this point in his career, which is great for an all-time great scorer that the NBA has ever seen.
Slick, then let me jump on a figurative grenade, if you will. I did not know James Harden was still capable of this. So riddle me the idiot, I didn't. I recall last year in the playoffs, we were saying maybe Maxey should be the number 2 player. Or I recall last year, over the course of the season, we were saying Tobias Harris needs to be more of that number 2 because James Harden was only giving you 14 to 17 points during a long period of time. So I will admit then if I'm on this island that I didn't know Harden was capable of giving you 2 40-point games in a series. He's never done it in his career. So I was shocked, have been shocked. What do you make of it?
You're not an idiot. You're not an idiot. This has to be a surprise to everyone that James Harden is capable of doing this at this point. Maybe for a game, but not for multiple games in a 4-game span. Now, we've seen it before from him, and the question still is, if we get to a Game 6 or a Game 7, can he give us another one? Because for where I believe Harden's talent should put him, he's always fallen short because he hasn't had the sustainability. And that sustainability hasn't been there because he hasn't stayed in shape. We have as many examples of a big game at the end of a series where he doesn't show up. 2010, Game 6 against the Lakers, he has 2 points. At Game 6 in the Western Conference semis, he's got 10 points on 2 for 11 shooting against the Spurs. I could keep on going. We have as many memorable, where did he go? This is below his standard games, as we do these where you go, oh, I didn't know he could still do this. And I do agree with you, too, that I believe he is taking some of the heat off of Embiid by what he has done in evening this series. But for me, if Harden is really going to change the narrative about him,
Championship,
he's going to give us a Game 6. He's going to give us a Game 7 where we go, oh, he didn't just give it to us for 1 game or 2 games. He closed a series with Joel Embiid next to him. That's what I need to see. So to this point, yeah, I'm a little surprised that we're getting it at age 33. But one last thing.
Go ahead. Let me quit.
Is this a contract year?
It must be.
Yeah.
He can opt out of his deal, right?
He opt out, yep.
Okay, so
I get that.
that often has a huge impact on what you see from a guy.
Harden, though. You talk about all them times, right? But he was the main guy. Well, here, he's the number 2 guy, right? So if my job is, I don't have to give you 40 every game. That's not what I'm here for, right? But if you need me to, I can do that because the roles are different. When you play with the MVP, the roles are different. Kobe Bryant, when he played with Shaq, the roles are different. So there might be games where Embiid was, because down the stretch, Embiid wasn't scoring well. Horford was playing some good defense. They went to James. That's what he's here for.
Yeah.
You're the number one, you're the number 2 guy, right? And he's balling. If you need him to give you 40, he can give you that. But that's not his role now. That's the difference.
Yeah. Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.